sunrise, and I came over here to the east side to get some breakfast, and I'm gonna spend some time kind of scouting some more areas this morning to see what I could find. But I figured I'd take this as an opportunity to kind of show you how I have the back of my 4Runner set up. This is something where it's taken many, many years of kind of slowly evolving the way I have it set up, and now I have something I think kind of fits all the needs of what I need to have. So the key thing is I need to have a big flat surface back here that's all pretty level, because when I load film, this is the perfect height where I can just kind of put my film changing tent right here, load film. I'm underneath the hatch, so if it's raining, I'm good. I got speakers so I can listen to satellite radio as I'm loading film, but I have my thermoelectric cooler here. This is where I keep all my film, and I have not really needed to plug it in on this trip. But if I go somewhere where it's a bit on the warm side, there's a 12-volt outlet kind of back by the wheel well over there I can plug it into, and I can also run it off solar if necessary. But that holds all my film, exposed film, as well as the fresh film. Over here, these cases are from Tenba. These are their car cases. This is the CC17, and these cases, I basically have my food in there. I have my water in there. It's really easy to get to everything. I can just pop them open there. And so essentially this case over here has breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then this one, I have water, some bread, some other stuff, some snacks. I also keep my camp stove in there. As far as water, I've been storing it in these bags. These are the 10-liter bags from MSR. And so it's about 2.5 gallons in each one. I have a total of 3 of those. I have 2 I keep up front, and I have one back here for regular use. And then this other case over here is where I keep film holders, and also, dark cloth, just miscellaneous camera gear. And then I have another similar case back over here, which is where I keep the spare camera, so the ebony, as well as some other like extra film holders and stuff along those lines. So everything's very accessible. It's a nice level surface that I can work off of. And the other reason I have it arranged like this guy right here is bolted down, and then all these other cases are kind of bungeed together in a way where, if need be, I can actually take these cases, kind of slide them around over there, and I can actually sleep in the back. And actually I did that on one of the days on this trip so far. On my spring trip, I wasn't able to do that, and I had to kind of find a way of sleeping in the back, which wasn't very comfortable. Back over here, looks like a mess right now, but backpacks go in there, and tripods are stored down there. So it basically gives me a good way of kind of keeping everything relatively organized where I can find stuff. And it's worked out really well for me. But now it's time to eat my breakfast skillet, have a cup of tea, and then I'm gonna set off down into some of the washes to see what I could find. And hoping to find something else that's maybe covered in frost, maybe some ice abstracts, we'll see. But looking forward to scouting and getting out there and seeing what I can find. So I'm taking some time to kind of wander through the washes here. I'm actually a little surprised that there seems to be less frost than yesterday. And some of the pools I thought might be a little more icy really aren't showing much ice at all. So I'm kind of wondering if all the moisture from the rain is kind of starting to evaporate. And some of those conditions I was really hoping for aren't really around as much. And it wasn't quite as cold as I thought it would be overnight. So I was hoping to get a little colder to, freeze some of the remaining pools. There's some deep pools out there. I was thinking maybe as those start to, drain through the sand a little bit more, get a little more ice on them, but that really hasn't been the case. So I'm gonna spend some time here, just kind of scouting around, seeing what I could find. I do have an idea for an afternoon shot. It's one I set up a composition on 2 years ago, and then the light wasn't quite right. And I think the light might be fine for it today. I think it'll be a little bit of a tricky photo, just from the standpoint that it's slightly chaotic, but there's a tree that has some really nice form to it. I know there's a wall behind it that'll catch some really, really nice reflected light. A little bit precarious to set up just because it's on a slope of sandstone, and everything's still just a little bit damp here, so it gets a little bit slippery. But I'm gonna keep wandering around. My goal for today is to check out some other side canyons nearby. There's one that I explored a little bit last year, and I want to explore it a bit further to see what else I could find. Because this is definitely very good weather for reflected light, and if I'm not going to be able to get the ice and the frost quite like I was hoping, maybe I should focus on some stuff where the reflected light would be key. Like, you know, some pine trees against sandstone with some nice light on it, or something along those lines. But it is so calm, so quiet here. Zion is awesome. So I spent the morning kind of scrambling around on the east side. I found several side canyons and followed them until I couldn't physically follow them any further. There's, you know, abrupt ends to the canyons, but it was really fun scrambling around. I didn't see anything I wanted to shoot, but it was definitely a good experience. But now I found a subject that's kind of cool. This is a trail side shot. It's actually in a very popular area at Big Bend, but I just love the way that this bleached dead cottonwood is leaning up another one that's alive. And especially with the, you know, winter cottonwood, the no leaves, I think it kind of makes them blend in. To me, this is kind of a photo that has a story. So I set up my camera here with a 450mm lens, which is a kind of a slightly longer than normal lens, and just framed a vertical composition, having angels landing there in the background, and the whole scene is bathed in reflected light. So I exposed 2 sheets of Velvia and then 1 of Ektar. And further down the trail, I found another shot, kind of more of an intimate landscape photo. So I can get things packed up, head down there, and see if I can get 2 shots in one day. So this is a scene that I was hoping to photograph, but I don't think it's really going to happen. I really like the texture and the color of the tree trunk. You got all these holes and lines, and really make a nice backdrop for something to anchor the scene like a cottonwood leaf. So I found a decaying leaf nearby, kind of placed it there, but the problem is that the log sits up maybe about 1.5 feet off the ground, and by the time I put the leaf on there, if I focus on that area, my camera has to be pretty high up. It'd actually be even higher up than this, and I really won't be able to see the ground glass. But now that I look at the scene, I don't really think it's as strong of a photo as I thought it was earlier. I think it's just because it's in comparison to the scene that I shot about an hour ago with the bleached cottonwood leaning up against the other cottonwood. And even though that photo is right on the trail, right in a major part of the canyon, I'm kind of surprised that I really hadn't noticed it before, because those are the sort of photos I really enjoy, where you look at those trees and they almost kind of seem like people, which is kind of cool. But I think I've reached the point of this trip where I think I'm pretty happy with the work that I've done. Having photographed 2 scenes now here in Zion and quite a few in Death Valley. And at this point, I have no clue how the Death Valley shots turned out. I'm really hoping there's some good stuff in there, but when I was on that part of the trip, I really just, I wasn't really satisfied with any of the photos I was shooting. I was making sloppy mistakes, and but now I'm feeling pretty good about this trip, which is good. My goal is to get maybe 2 or 3, solid keepers from each trip. But now I have another couple days or so here in Zion, so I think I'll spend the time just kind of checking things out, wandering around, and further getting to know the place. It's just such a nice place to be, and so many places I have not visited yet within this park. So I think it's time to head back to camp, grab some dinner, get things packed away a little bit, and see what tomorrow brings. Well, even though I thought I was done for the day, it's not really the case. I was working my way back to the truck, and there were a few deer on the trail that I was trying to avoid, so I kind of went around them. And I walked past this scene that I've walked past so many times in the past, but I've never walked past it during the wintertime. I really love this fallen, bleached cottonwood tree here. And when I've tried to sort of find a composition for this during the spring or during the fall, there's so many other competing elements. The trees in the background and the grasses and stuff are a different color, and it's just a simplified scene in the wintertime. And I think it really emphasizes the kind of stark tree up against the sort of pastel colors. And the light source is coming from way back behind me, up over here. Big, huge wall of reflected light, as well as a little bit of light from the sky. So I set up a horizontal composition, used my normal lens, and I exposed 2 sheets of Velvia as well as a single sheet of Ektar. Really straightforward composition, really straightforward exposure, really calm conditions. So I was happy to find it. I was debating whether I should shoot it now or shoot it tomorrow, but if there's gonna be some clouds that sweep through and I don't get the sort of light I was hoping for, I think I would really regret not shooting it today. So happy to add a second subject today, very similar subject, but definitely different in its own right. But now my hands are getting really, really cold. I didn't bring my gloves or my jacket with me, and as soon as I'm not in the sun anymore, man, it starts to get a little chilly out here. So time to break things down, head back to camp, look forward to grabbing some dinner, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Enjoy this ad-free content and want to help me live my dream. A voluntary contribution of just $24 a year helps keep my gas tank full and my phone freezer stocked. For more information on how to support me and my work, please visit the donation section of my website at benhorne.com/donate. I also have prints in my 2017 portfolio box set available on my website. You can find a direct link down below in the show notes. Thanks in advance for your support.